temperatures here in Lexington, Kentucky, but Rupp Arena expected to heat up as one of the great rivalries in college basketball history writes its latest chapter. Just 80 miles separating these two programs as today Louisville and Kentucky get together here in Lexington.
Hi, everyone. So excited to be with you courtside alongside the great Bill Raftery. I'm Spiro Ditas. Bill, there are great rivalries in this sport, but you put this one right at the top of the list.
Arguably one of the best, no question about it. I didn't wear red or blue, but anybody mad at me. But more importantly, we think no Rick Pitino, which sort of takes the steam out of it just a little bit. But this is for position. This is to find out where you stand and where you may end up in the seed in the NCAA.
Both of these two young teams looking for their first signature win of the season. We still don't know what they are at this point. That's what makes this even more fun. Let's start with Kentucky. Hamidou Diallo, one of their 5 freshman starters. He's been their most talented player.
We don't know. The coaches don't know. But Hamidou happens to know. A very talented young man. The ability to get to the rim is something he possesses. Athleticism personified. He's got range. Terrific understanding of get into cracks. But in the open floor, Hamidou can do with the best of them.
Meantime for David Padgett and Louisville. You know, we know this small ball trend has been the thing in college basketball the last few years, but they like their bigs, don't they?
Well, why not? They may not turn it over as much, but these guys just change shots, alter shots, and give them run-out opportunities.
All right, with that, how about our AT&T fast analysis?
You watch this basketball team, the length really jumps out at you. They're able to finish breaks, opportunities, but I just love their inside people. They really understand how to do damage. And this guy, Knox, yes, with the finish. And the other side, the speed, the ability to get in between gaps, to blow by people and finish strong. No Knox on that one.
And so the stage is set. It's Louisville, it's Kentucky. A raucous scene expected at Rupp next. CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by AT&T. Buick, proud partner of the NCAA. And by State Farm, here to help life go right. 51st all-time meeting between these two storied college basketball programs. 8 of the last 10 since Calipari took over Kentucky have gone the way of the Wildcats. The last 2 have gone down to the very final moment. Starters for the Cardinals, Quentin Snyder, Louisville native, grew up not far from their school, knows this rivalry so well. And meantime, the 5 freshman starters, Kevin Knox, as talented a freshman as there is right now in the country. And there are the 2 coaches, the Hall of Famer on the right, John Calipari, and David Padgett, who experienced this rivalry as a player 3 years after the transfer from Kansas, experiencing it for the first time as a coach.
How about if you talked on August 1st and said, you're going to be the coach? You're going to be in shock. And here he is in Lexington against the Big Blue. And right now, Spiro Ditas, Louisville goes a little bit. And they switch it up. A lot of pointing, a lot of exchanging, and a lot of keys. If it gets inside, they sometimes go straight man if it gets to the foul line.
Kentucky has been off all week. They've not played since their loss last Saturday to UCLA.
And look at Diallo! Nasty play to get the party started.
Well, that shake up the denizens. That looked like our open. A little hammer by H.
Wow, well, if anyone was still kind of sleeping before this game started, that'll get the blood flowing. Here's Quentin Snyder, who basically played the game of his life in that victory over Kentucky last year. Another look at the thunderous finish by the freshman.
Well, that was actually tardy defense by the bigs. He forced him baseline. Nobody presented himself.
So here are the Cardinals, 10-2. Looking for what would be a monstrous road victory. Shot clock was down to 1, and they don't get it off. And that's a violation.
Size prevailing there. The inability to use that pivot foot and go up quickly. Well, that's what Louisville will do. They'll get in that lane. They'll find some people. Here's the full court pressure. Reminiscent bygone years, they do a lot of the similar things. Coach Pageant said to us that Rick did. A couple of wrinkles here and there.
It certainly has a different feel to this rivalry with the absence of Rick Pitino that Bill mentioned at the top. First time that they're meeting without Pitino coaching on the sidelines since January of 2001.
It's Brad Day Green filling it up from deep.
Over Adele as well. A good balance defensively, something they're going to have to do. Kentucky.
Green, another freshman, decorated high school career in Philadelphia at Newman Goretti High. And Louisville still looking for its first points.
Can't beat that move there by Snyder, though. This is more of a zone look. The length of Mahmoud. Consistent and really negates opportunities. Big runs to the rim.
Good looking stroke. That's B.J. King, the sophomore out of Cleveland.
Yeah, that's why you have to get down and get back and get in the stance ready to play. A very confident stroke. Shooting much better this year, this Louisville club.
King has come a long way since last season. Had some moments as a freshman, but really expecting big things from here. From him in his second season with the Cardinals.
Now, Richards really has to do a nice job. He's going to be asked to do a lot of things with the bigs of Louisville. A lot of slips on these screens and lobs.
Here's Dang Adele, had an 18-point game in the Louisville win over Kentucky last year. And Anis Mahmoud, who's got all that length, the young Egyptian national, going glass.
And Knox did not ride him all the way out. Gave up on the checkout. You got to do it till you seal the deal. Nice look.
Backdoor play, and what a defensive recovery by Spalding.
It's that back-end help defense that Louisville's been so good with. There's a reaching foul charged here. Is Adele able to get into the paint? It's charged to Kevin Knox. That's his first.
Knox really having, I think, a great year watching him. Does so many nice things. There's that roll to the rim by him, but now he persists after, and they got to do a better job. You got to ride him all the way out. Richards actually gave up on him, and Knox tried to help, but late.
Here's Snyder.
The Lexington kid filling it up. That's a long two.
And Louisville now with 7 unanswered points to take a 2-point lead. Comes Diallo up and under. Unable to finish. Offensive rebound.
Got a foul.
Sasha Kalia-Jones, who's come in, the sophomore out of Chapel Hill. And a whistle against the Cardinals.
You'll love him. He's got great speed. The ability to get to the rim. I think that was Hamadou that pushed it. I think the press works if you force him into a quick jack. That's part of the philosophy.
Spalding picks up his first. As both teams start to go to their respective benches. Malik Williams, a freshman out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, has checked in for the Cardinals. Green into the corner. This is Diallo. Look at that handle. That was crossover dribble. Can't hit the deep two, and Snyder clears.
Keep him out of the lane. We saw him get in once, Snyder, with that little floater.
Louisville has not beaten Kentucky here at Rupp, as King has it knocked out of bounds since January of 2008.
A Wednesday on CBS. Don't miss the winter premiere of the new drama SEAL Team. Wednesday, 9/8 Central, right here on CBS.
Malik Williams on the floor now, can make some threes. A 3-point game. We're like, look at this drive. Pretty finish. An ass. Enough.
Mahmoud, a senior, born in Cairo. Second in the country in blocks. But right now doing it offensively with a couple of buckets. Knox can't hit the corner three, and suddenly Kentucky's offense is going cold.
A lot of quick jacks, too. You got to move ball side to side just a little bit. A step back, huh?
B.J. King around the rim and out. And the rebound pulled by P.J. Washington. There's Knox. Open floor. Ball kind of squirted through his hands, and then the loose ball is taken by Williams and Louisville.
Well, you got to be alert. So many quick hands, persistent hands. You see a lot of ball screens and rush screens, occasionally a lob. His dribble exchange is where Mahmoud gets to the rim.
Here's Snyder able to square up. A little bit short, and the rebound by Knox. Kentucky at this end, Bill, has missed its last 5 shots.
But it's been one pass and a jack. Let the others touch. Let them know you love them.
Gilgeous-Alexander short. Here comes Snyder trying to push Pace right to the rim.
A 1-on-3 can't happen.
We mentioned the game that Snyder had last year with Louisville against Kentucky. Career high 22 points. And what was really his breakout moment. It's a corner three, and it's good. Gilgeous-Alexander, another freshman who comes in off the bench. Tons of potential with this kid. They love his defense. He's very skilled at the other end as well.
Yeah, he's a fake starter, really. This kid can do an awful lot of things. Great speed, pull-up game as well. Rush, ball, screen.
That's a baseline jumper from Williams around and out.
He can shoot it. 6'11".
Knox! Boy, what a defensive challenge by Williams. He'll make him earn it at the free throw line when we come back. 3-point Louisville lead. Well, Louisville has been under a shadow to start the season. Rick Pitino fired after being linked to but not charged in the FBI's investigation into corruption in college basketball recruiting. Pitino has denied all accusations and is suing Louisville for the $35 million left on his contract. Louisville, in turn, has sued Pitino for lost revenue. The scandal has also cost the team a potential star in Brian Bowen. His recruitment at the center of the allegations against Pitino, and Louisville has declared he will not play for the school. Through all of this, Pitino's former player and assistant David Padgett, who was on his staff since 2014, has led the Cardinals to this 10-2 start. But Billy, without Pitino on the bench, certainly a different feel and a new chapter to this storied rivalry.
A different style. You've got a young guy whose first opportunity brings Trent Johnson in to aid him, to counsel him. Longtime coach, great friend of the family, knew him at the University of Nevada, and of course Stanford after that. And it's really unattractive. I mean, to have this happen in college basketball is extremely distasteful and unfortunate. Rick, a breach of contract suit, and then the school counters. I mean, it's just amazing stuff that's happened that we never expected ever when you got involved in college basketball.
And the legalities of it aside, the timing of it, you know, it was ongoing for multiple years, but it wasn't made public until September. They basically had 2 days, did Padgett, to announce the hire and then put his staff together. Just incredibly difficult for a rookie head coach, who, by the way, is only 32 years old.
He's so mature, though. Didn't I come across it on media with him?
Absolutely.
I mean, he's just grounded, understands the dilemma.
This is Dang Adele. It's the call here. Don Daly blowing the whistle. Contact before the shot attempt. We asked Padgett about it, if he was overwhelmed at any point. He says, we just didn't have any time to be overwhelmed. You know, Trent has been terrific. Trent, a long relationship with Padgett's father, Pete, who's here, by the way.
In his first press conference, his sister was overwhelmed by the maturity of her brother, Melissa.
He has been very supportive and remains very close to Padgett.
Likes to bounce. He's not tough with the basketball, though. Wanted his little hook over the left shoulder. Great rake job by Kentucky.
Wenyon Gabriel has checked into the game for the Wildcats.
And he can make some threes and stretch your D.
This is Gilgeous-Alexander. He's got that great size, boy. When you see him in person, 6'6". There's Knox. A little bit short.
Nice little play, though. You collapse the D, kick back to the big fella.
So Louisville 5 of 10, trying to work that two-man game. This is Mahmoud underneath, a little bit short with the hook shot.
Leah Jones really a factor on that shot, too. Made him rush it, short arm it. John's playing a couple of older guys here.
Put older in quotation marks. This team young even by Calipari standards here in Lexington. That is Knox, and he's still looking for his first points. The putback, however, Sasha Kalia-Jones underneath.
Well, that can happen when you move the ball side to side in pride. You got a great-looking jump shot, some semblance of order that trip. Good finish at the rim.
So Kentucky fights back, and we're tied at 11. With 12 to change left before halftime. DJ King.
They are rebounding right now. We worked on it in practice yesterday. Where are you going? Gets away with it, though.
Knox forces the issue. And will shoot a couple of free throws. Well, starting Tuesday, the legendary Jim Rome brings the jungle to CBS Sports Network and rings in the new year, tackling the biggest stories in sports. Watch the Jim Rome Show weekdays at noon on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Neither one of us is shocked with Knox's ability, the open floor. I mean, he's the consummate, well-rounded player. You know, size, length, the ability to face up, put it on the deck. And yesterday, Cal was distressed over their lack of rebounding and concentration on the defensive end. And they look pretty fresh on that end. They've challenged a lot of shots.
We've watched a lot of Calipari practices. He always seems distressed, doesn't he? He was vocal yesterday.
I think it goes with the territory of any coach, but in particular here, they're not used to losing.
So Knox will come off the floor here. Can't imagine for very long. And you see the run by the Wildcats. They've done it in the blink of an eye. Just 2:30 as they move back in front.
A little shake up, slow the offense down with that 2-2-1. Man, a shooter on the floor is going to stretch the D on that side. He might get some post entries now. Oh, it's got to be a foul.
Spalding put it on the deck and a whistle blown against Kentucky. That'll be a push against Gabriel. 2-point lead for Kentucky on CBS. On CBS.
Exciting time of year, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's getting fun. And speaking of that playoff picture, this is what it looks like at the moment. New England and Pittsburgh at the top. And still a fight for those two wild card positions. And America will be watching on Sunday.
Trying to get a little dribbling, nice entry. That's that duck in they do so well. Williams is on the way down. Good call.
There's Nick Richards, the freshman out of Kingston, Jamaica, getting it on the way down. So a goaltend, and we're tied at 13.
Nice little entry pass. You can see that's on the way down. That's a good call. And Cal is begging for something. Now the referees are chatting with one another.
Officials still having a conference. Pat Adams, Joe Lindsay, and Don Daly.
Well, they called the goaltender. They can't change that.
And now Joe Lindsay will join the conversation.
I guess the question is, was it tipped before it was blocked? And they're saying it was. They're saying Gabriel. Maybe.
Well, it was certainly close. So they're saying it was tipped, so the whistle becomes inadvertent at that point. So they'll simply go to the possession arrow, and it does favor Louisville.
Better way of saying it, there's a disagreement between two officials. That's how they settle it.
Glad that they can work out their differences. So 13 seconds on the shot clock, 11:48 left as they'll take 2 points off the board. Louisville still down by a deuce.
And you just can't leave those entry passes like the last one against Louisville, those duck-ins. Step back and rushed them. And a terrific shooter.
Ryan McMahon. And then a whistle against Kentucky, and Calipari is irate.
Every coach wants to win, but he wants to cajole, coerce his team into being a little more consistent in their play. Run and jump.
Louisville, no points, by the way, in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And right on cue, Malik Williams, the freshman out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, with that nice-looking baby hook shot.
Chipped over the line on the way back.
That's Diallo, top floater, and he's fouled.
This kid is in the attack mode. But the danger for Kentucky is letting the duck-ins happen. You get the ball in the lane, but this is just the philosophy of this youngster. Possesses that innate ability to crack the D and finish the deal.
10th in the SEC in scoring. He's averaged just under 20 over his last 5. 18 plus in those 5 games in a row. Preseason watch list for all the top national awards, the Wooden, the Naismith, and the Oscar Robertson. This kid's ceiling is limitless at this point, as Mahmoud will come back in for the Cardinals.
What he got last year was helpful, though. That second semester came in, just practiced with the team. It really helped Diallo grow, I think, playing a lot of confidence, giving him some experience. 2-2-1 once again.
Yeah, Diallo arrived that second semester. They redshirted him, then went through the NBA draft process, and at the very last instant decided to return for Kentucky. And that really changed the makeup of his team.
But it really forced him deep on the floor. Even if that went in, that's pretty good defense by Kentucky. A run out.
That was Adele on the 3, and then Diallo. This will be a charging foul. Offensive against Diallo. That'll be his first.
He is unabashed when it comes to the open floor. Little same-hand crossover. Ooh, man, you paid a price. A little elbow in the chin. Oh, my goodness. Gasping for air as well.
McMahon protecting those ribs. Of course, missed the first 2 months, 9 games of the season. Fractured rib.
Tough little kid. The story is he's held on the cut by Green. Nick Vitale, I don't know what he's doing now for a living, but recommended him to Rick Pitino. Did you know that?
It's worked out.
Yeah, it worked out real good.
McMahon, only a freshman from Sarasota, Florida. Mr. Vitale's part of the world down in sunny Florida.
He's forgot Jersey quickly. I think he still votes there, though.
McMahon didn't make his first appearance of the season until that December the 9th game. That is Spalding. Count it. And a chance at a three-point play for the junior out of Louisville.
You are going to pay the price if you permit these bigs to get a foot in the lane. And just excellent dribble drive, and boy, tardy, not in the right position, not denying properly. You are captured. You are an indentured servant. You can't give it up to these bigs like that.
Yeah, Billy, that's the second against Kevin Knox, so the freshman has to sit. Spalding has been terrific. Career-high 21 points in their win over Grand Canyon, and here he comes right back to clean up his own mess.
And that's what John was saying yesterday to his team. The 50-50 balls, we've got to come up with them. Get down and dirty.
Calipari has talked about effort, and that sometimes when you're talking about a young team has to be a red flag.
And there's a little miscue from that young flag you're talking about.
Third Kentucky turnover. Good ball movement into the corner. Triple drive by Sutton won't go.
Nice shot by Richards, staying at home.
Bobcats able to clog up the paint. Beautiful lob underneath. Richards can't finish as Green set him up perfectly.
Well, what do you do when the dribble gets that deep? You got to step up and help, and you pay the price. Fortunately, for Louisville to miss.
There's Gilgeous-Alexander on the fronting defense. Spalding couldn't finish underneath, and then he stepped out. You're right.
Well, you better come on. Tie your shoes, buckle up your pants. Nothing easy around the rim. These bigs just in the right position, great anticipation. Let you release, then they go airborne.
Bill, they've got so much length. Richards with that block, 6'11". Knox those incredibly long arms for his 6'9" frame. They're still a team, obviously trying to put it together 11 games into the season. The floater from P.J. Washington won't go. And this is McMahon in the open floor. So both teams' offense has hit a bit of a wall here. That's a corner 3 off the front of the rim. No good. And Sutton's still looking for his first bucket.
Well, you better be in shape to play this game. Small change, a little nickel-dimer. So we don't like the big to get a foul that far from the rim.
That'll be the first against Mahmoud. And underneath out of bounds as Diallo will do the honors. So Mahmoud, the senior out of Cairo, a guy who's always kind of struggled to keep the weight on that frame.
He's just basically, they get a break here. He's just basically a thin guy. I don't know where you put the weight, do you? He hangs with you at night.
Well, they say every time he goes back to Egypt, he'll lose about 15 to 20 pounds. Of course, in that intense heat. He's off to a terrific start in his senior season. Kalia Jones, a little bit short, and both teams still struggling.
Yeah, nice entry pass by Green, though.
Kentucky just 5 of 16 from the field. And Louisville, meantime, at this end has missed its last 4 shots. Past the 9-minute mark before halftime.
They got what they want inside.
Spalding.
There you go.
Terrific position and an easy finish.
I know. Terrific dump down.
Third bucket for Spalding. He's got 6. That's Kalia Jones. Monstrous finish.
How about the pass, too? Diallo. Well, you can throw it as high as you want. There is nothing you can do about this one. Amazing. And the giveaway as well. Great look. Alexander actually made the play. What a great look.
And to compound matters for Louisville, that's the second on Mahmoud. What a play by Sasha Kalia Jones as David Padgett paces the sidelines, the 32-year-old rookie head coach.
I'm going to check who the foul is on, I think.
The initial call was against Mahmoud, which would be his second. Padgett would love them to change this call and keep his center on the floor.
It did look like him, didn't it? Trying to negate that opportunity at the rim. When Kentucky comes down and gets the ball moving a little bit, dribble drive, defense steps up. Yeah, that's an easy call, I'm sure.
I can't imagine they're looking at anything else as the officials again conference. Could be something, maybe a taunt.
Oh, maybe he felt Jones hit. I just play on. Come on, guys. Let's go. I mean, that's just an accidental bump at the end of a play by Jones. Where he was exuberant.
Officials trying to stay on top of things with such an intense rivalry, but this didn't appear to be nothing.
This is where you should do what you do in your home. Let your wife make the decision. Let's go. You got nothing else to contribute. They always say 3 heads are better than 1. These are bright guys.
This is a veteran crew: Pat Adams, Joe Lindsay, Don Daly.
I can see with them trying to control it, just to make sure this doesn't get into another level.
Billy, we're hearing double technical here
for the two of them.
That's the rumor that is circulating towards this end of the floor.
Dead ball, contact, technical foul. They're going to explain it to me. Should I tell them what I think?
So will be a double contact technical foul as Don Daly comes over and gives his explanation to the governor.
He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to hear my
he didn't ask for your opinion.
Technical foul. I think he said 1 and, if I'm not mistaken, 24.
Number 24, Dwayne Sutton.
Yeah, Sutton. And Killian Jones on the other side.
All right, so the confusion is finally sorted through. So Sasha Kalia Jones will shoot the free throw back to the N1, which seemed as though it happened about 10 minutes ago.
Right. I do understand, though, in a competitive game like this, that you don't want things to raise to that level that there's a problem. So better early, if anything. Everybody gets the message, you hope.
You got it.
Kalia Jones, former high school All-American at Virginia Episcopal High.
I'm disappointed with Don Daly, though. Interested what I had to say.
Didn't ask for your opinion. I was surprised myself.
But this is a better job defensively. Force him out by Jones. Let him settle for the jumper. Don't get back. And
Green filling it up from deep.
This is something I think you're going to see a lot more of during the year. Green and Alexander playing together. Terrific look and find.
Wow. It's Malik Williams left a little bit short. Gets it back and puts it down hard.
How about that kid for hanging in there, though? Known as a shooter. Should be a little more.
That's Diallo on a 3. Offensive rebound. Gilgeous-Alexander trying to bank it in. Diallo, that won't go. And last touch by the Wildcats.
The boards. Now we're getting physical. This isn't supposed to happen with the Bigs of Kentucky. Send it in, big fella. We got a real good one.
Your game summary, 7:31 to play before halftime, and we expected this to be intense as it's starting to get a little bit chippy, and that interior work starting to become a factor right now for the Cardinals.
We got some big guys who can do some damage, but this is going to be painful for Kentucky if they permit this to happen. To get it in that lane, I believe this is the third goal they've gotten. Once they just step in front and beg for that basketball, tighten that up, Kentucky can do some damage.
Spiro Ditas, Bill Raftery back with you courtside. What have you seen so far?
Some excitement, some plays at the rim that are just incredible. And one thing about Kentucky, when they've come down and not had something and get it side to side, they've gotten a good shot. On the other hand, I think their defense has been solid on the perimeter, forcing Louisville to jack some deep, tough shots.
Well, both of these teams still really unknown commodities, if you will, at this point of the season. Kentucky 9-2. Really no signature win to speak of yet. And Louisville in the same boat at 10-2.
These two teams are going to be terrific at the end of the year. There's no question about it. They're just now finding themselves, getting their legs, getting their rotations.
Now, Louisville's best win at this point over Indiana. But this one would do wonders for their resume. This is Williams starting to make his presence felt. Blocked underneath by Richards. And then last touch by the Wildcats with just 2 seconds to shoot.
Boy, Richards really looms large. He is an impressive kid. Just got to get him to get into that game. He is emotional as some of the other guys.
Cardinals have to hurry here. Jordan Wara. Diallo off Dallas, 3 in the corner. Nicely done just to get it on the cylinder.
How about the two-header rebound? Big time. Snatched by Richards. Nobody stops the dribble.
That's Washington left-handed floater won't go. Fight for the rebound. Washington gets it back. Stripped on his way up by Spalding, but the officials say reach and foul.
And that's what John was alluding to yesterday. They want to compete on that glass. Anything up there, you go get.
That'll be the second, Billy, on Spalding. And P.J. Washington, the freshman out of Dallas, to the line for 2.
You know, Spiro, the big thing with this Louisville team is they are thin and get shoved under a little bit. Therefore, you can't really step and seal a guy and beg for the basketball. You got to do a better job of creating space away from the rim.
Here's Washington, who was actually born in Louisville, but grew up in Dallas. On Wednesday on CBS, it's a new amazing race in the new year. Teams that are tops in their field will compete for the $1 million prize, the Amazing Race season premiere, Wednesday, 8/7 Central, only CBS. Washington actually played for John Calipari on the USA's under-19 team of the World Cup. A team that won the bronze, so very familiar with Coach Cal.
He's a power kid, really can attack that 10.
And he's given Kentucky a 2-point lead. It's a corner 3 from Wara. That will not go, and then out of bounds. Last touch by Malik Williams.
Just as David Padgett said, though, they've been turning people over as much as other years.
Says they've been good in terms of blocking shots, among the best teams in the country. In fact, second in blocks are the Cardinals. But they still wants to see some more turnovers created by his defense. Washington a little bit too strong. Richards!
That's what he has to do, though. Dominate. Play with some ferocious intent.
It was Malik Williams, Billy, who got him on the way up. Otherwise, that would have been a thunderous finish. Here's Snyder back onto the floor. A little bit off balance.
Richards with a great job, though. Walled up, prevented that little baby hook. He's got his guy in there.
That thing fell on his back, but instead, Gilgeous-Alexander goes the other way.
I think they could use their bigs a little bit more. Don't settle deep.
But you don't appreciate Kentucky's size until you see them in person. They're so long. Where do they go here? Shot clock down to 4. Here comes Gilgeous-Alexander. Silky smooth.
And a nice little pinch post handoff. And then the ability at the rim to make a great decision with the hand. Here's the little dish. And watch the shoulder, the left. A little kiss.
23,000 plus, standing room only, one of the great venues in college basketball. Spiro Ditas, Bill Raftery, our producer Ryan Galvin, and our director Suzanne Smith, rest of our CBS crew here from Rupp Arena in Lexington. Here comes Diallo on the tough floater underneath, had a lot of contact, unable to finish.
And once again, Richards looming large there. What a presentation. He is into this game. Give him a little love now.
This is Gabriel at the top of the circle.
They never look in.
Gilgeous-Alexander, top of the circle. Shot clock down to 6.
They had two ample opportunities. If they come up empty, look at this kid work. Now you got to reward him somehow.
Last touch by Kentucky. And so Richards Bill doing it right now at both ends of the floor, specifically with his defense.
He's been exceptional, always in the right spot, challenging shots, leaving his guy. And then at the other end, a couple of times, he has been free and in position, but other than chasing it and trying to come up with it, he hasn't had a lot of touches.
Richards, the McDonald's All-American, former Mr. Basketball in New Jersey. It's a three-pointer. It's a little bit short.
He doesn't mind jacking him, does he?
Malik Williams has nothing basketball. He has not. There's Green back in the game for the Wildcats. Diallo against two defenders, and B.J. King a little bit too strong and aggressive with his defense. That's his second. And Diallo to the stripe for 2.
Boy, you cannot relax on any trip with both of these clubs. That challenge mentality. Both are hungry. And both want to set their tone going into their seasons, too, their conference seasons.
So here's Diallo, the redshirt freshman from Queens, New York. Started Putnam Science Academy in Connecticut. Unable to hit on the first. A reminder to keep it here. AT&T at the half comes your way in just a couple of minutes. Adam and Seth will get you updated on the action from last night as conference play gets into full swing around college basketball. It's all coming up on AT&T at the half. Got some fun games coming up over the weekend. A triple header right here on CBS, and you'll be checking out a good one.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good team up there. Villanova going to play Butler. One of the great places to visit if you're a basketball fan. Maybe not with your team, but did a good job on Snyder thus far.
Pass to Adele was deflected. Shot clock at 7. Cardinals have missed 8 of their last 9 shots. Adele, they have hounded him defensively.
Look at this numbers.
Diallo to the ref, blocked, and they say a foul before the basket. Yeah, free throws for Diallo when we come back. It has been ferocious and intense. 4-point Kentucky lead on CBS. How about Butler? Mentioned them against Villanova. Billy will be there for that. AP top 10. Duke at number 4. Wichita State, Villanova, all on CBS tomorrow.
Who do you guard? And speaking of guarding, Kentucky raking here. The intimidation factor at the rim, too. Richards has just been a presence, possessed, and that's what you have to be. No matter how talented you are, you got to mix it up, compete, leave it all out there. And I'm so impressed today with Nick Richards and his solid contributions.
Well, this Kentucky defense has kept Louisville without a point for the last 4 minutes and 22 seconds. And you see there, since the 8:04 mark, just one made field goal between these two teams. As the freshman sensation, Diallo at the stripe for 2.
See Alexander in the background. He cut his hair from the UCLA game.
Kind of threw you off a little bit.
When I first saw him, wow. I thought, I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I'm wondering if Mom said something or he just felt it slowed him down, which is impossible to do. But that's what you need, the scrappy play there this time by Washington.
That'll be the 10th team foul against Louisville. It's on Malik Williams, his second, and so P.J. Washington getting his hands dirty
will shoot a couple.
And the 7th offensive rebound.
John Calipari's been talking about the effort plays. He certainly appreciated that hustle.
Yesterday he had the gauge in the rim where you can't make the shot. That's one of the toughest drills for guys because nobody's going to make a shot. You got to bang, 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 and get after the basketball. And thus far, it has worked.
Well, this team, young, even by Calipari standards, lost his top 7 scorers from last year. 0 seniors on this team. 8 freshmen, of course, including his 5 starters. This is Adele who's been quiet. Corner 3 won't go. Adele's numbers have been down a bit the last 5 games. And look at Gilgeous-Alexander hitting the deck.
Nice pass.
Thunder's right-handed jam.
And that's all about the 50-50. Something that was stressed all week long by John Calipari. What effort. They got a perfect trap there.
It's a 14-2 Kentucky run.
I don't care how good you are. If you don't play with emotion, you can't win on this high level of college basketball. And right now, they are winning and digging for anything that's open and free. And why not finish with a plum? Woo! Send it in. Sans hair and all.
Cardinals need a bucket. Snyder trying to put him on his back. Turned aside.
Hold on.
Diallo. Boy, he nearly lost his footing, but somehow gets it to drop. And Diallo a chance at a 3-point play.
What I love about this play under the defensive sequence, Diallo, they get a piece of it. He can't dunk it, but recovers enough to make the simple deuce. The open floor. He was ready to do a little ring-a-ding-ding on your bell.
Well, they lost so much offense with the departures of both De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk, but this kid is as talented and as polished an open floor offensive scorer as there is in the country, certainly among the freshmen.
He is electrifying. He possesses that attack mentality, leaves it all out.
And the question now for Louisville and David Padgett, really, where do they go for offense? They haven't scored a point in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. And suddenly they're down a dozen.
Well, the big thing is when Snyder gets in the lane and kicks, people aren't making shots. And maybe some ball screens and collapse the D a little bit.
See the run by Kentucky.
Nobody screening. This is tough. This is right up Kentucky's alley right now. Causing you to be patient. But there you go.
Spun lost the handle. Green. Gets it back from Diallo. This is Gabriel. Runs right over McMahon, and that's the second charge that little Ryan McMahon has been able to draw off the bench.
And that's part of learning, though. You're getting excited. Think you can take your guy. The extra pass here before you get in that deep. And boy, what a tough kid. You offered it up. He doesn't care how big they are. He's going to stack it and get that charge call.
Not hard to see how he fractured his rib. He's always kind of the thick of the action. Not afraid of the contact as Gabriel will sit. That's his second.
That wasn't our Lord talking to Gabriel, by the way.
Here comes McMahon trying to fend off Green with his body. He's so crafty, Bill. Obviously not the biggest or the fastest guy on the floor. As now McMahon will shoot a 1-and-1. With Louisville in the bonus. But one thing, you saw the graphic a couple of moments ago. Kentucky so dominant in games in which they have been led by 10 or more points at any time. 222-4 in such games. And right now their lead at 11. I'll get the CBS Sports app. Inside access to your favorite teams. Watch highlights, get breaking news, scores, and more. Download the CBS Sports app today.
He looks like a choir boy or an altar boy, but I don't think you see those two picking up charges, do you?
I do not. He's got a lot of toughness in that little frame of his. First points for the Cardinals, Bill, in nearly 6 minutes.
And it's all attributable to not great offense, but excellent defense by Kentucky.
David Padgett, their 32-year-old rookie coach, just trying to weather the storm with his young Cardinals.
And they ran the dive to the box for an ISO. Power, there you go. That's what you got to do. Let the bigs know you care. Washington with the punch.
Washington and Wara taking a gamble, trying to draw that charge. The flop didn't work. This is Lance Thomas. I'm sure that's the shot that Padgett wants. Not even close.
They could be in deep trouble the next minute. Not a good angle for the pass. Should have been to the left hand.
Thomas the steal, and then Dill able to do the rest.
That's all because of faulty post passing. You've got to read the D, get a better angle, pitch it to Richards' left hand in that particular trip.
First Louisville bucket in nearly 7 minutes. And you look up, but only down 10 points. Gilgeous-Alexander, backdoor. And Washington fouled. He'll shoot 2.
I think Thomas got him. That last trip, just not good basketball. Should have been to the left hand, and all of a sudden, an explosive run. You've got good control of this game, and you give up an easy one. Painful.
Third foul charge to Thomas. And so here's Washington at the free throw line again. Son of a coach, played for his dad, Paul, basically his entire life growing up. Also played for the great Penny Hardaway on the AAU circuit. Calipari said, though, he reminds him of Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, of course, the starter on his national championship team here back in 2012. And one of these 5 freshman starters that Cal really feels like has some pretty good upside.
Yeah, they don't look like the same team that played UCLA. They're invigorated, enthusiastic. I think he reached them. The tough part for these kids, he may have to continue that toughness on them to make them grow and concentrate.
And Washington has been very good. 8 points so far in this first half. And right now Kentucky's lead back to 12.
You're thinking good shot at Louisville. Don't start. Ooh, that is what a huge.
Not even close. Darius Perry, the freshman.
Wow, Darius.
Into the game for the first time. So under a minute to play, first half. And a storied rivalry between Louisville and Kentucky. This is Gilgeous-Alexander. Contact! And he's headed to the free throw line.
Well, this kid is smart. He knows when he can elevate, what type of shot he needs. And here, that little pull-up delivery and an opportunity to get 3. I think they've got themselves a pretty good-looking backcourt.
7th in the SEC in assists per game. But he's just one of those rare players, Bill, that it almost takes more pride in his defense than his offense. Among the country's best in steals.
You know he's quick. His mom, 400 meters at the Olympics, right, in '92.
Good G's
in Barcelona. So I'm sure she's got a big influence on his life. And this kid Richards, though, I mean, I think he is the key for them to have a breakout season. As he gets the touch and develops confidence. I watched him yesterday in practice. He's got a nice touch, a little 10-foot, 12-foot jumper. You can see what he can do commanding that low box area defensively.
Born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica, played soccer, volleyball, ran a little track and field as a kid, then was discovered. And someone told him he could get a scholarship playing college basketball. He was brought to the New York area, started at the Patrick School in Hillside, New Jersey. And what a future he's got in front of him. 12-point Kentucky lead with 22 seconds to play before halftime.
Now they're in their little mix-up here. A little zone, a little combo. Big thing is if you miss, Kentucky's got an opportunity to rebound.
Gilgeous-Alexander into the corner. This is Washington. Attacks and lays it up and in.
How about that?
Beautifully done.
That kid is a load.
Down to 1 second. Snyder trying to force. Washington clears, and that takes us to halftime.
Pretty good exhibition, wouldn't you say? Got themselves into the game. A couple of days of hard work after the Christmas vacation. The read. And this kid can face up, post up, pass, and attack.
You see the run for Kentucky to close the half. And it was their defense as Louisville won for its last 13 shot attempts to end that first half. Halftime in Lexington, Kentucky, 41, Louisville 27. We now send you to Adam Zucker in New York. The light skating just outside Rupp Arena, downtown Lexington, Kentucky, is that youngster braving the elements, frigid temperatures. Our USAA first half stats. It was a half of runs. Louisville closing 25-8. And that ball movement that had been so good for Louisville of late, really non-existent.
Stop. And then when they would get a look, not converting, it really was disturbing. Of course, then all of a sudden you got some problems defensively. You take bad shots, that starts fast breaks. And how about this run? Solid. 25-8. That'll get you home pretty good. But Louisville now gets some people back that they rested for foul problems. They need a good first 4 minutes.
Diallo, who has been really one of the catalyst scorers for Louisville, just 1 of 7 in that first half. What does Louisville have to do to have a chance?
Well, the big thing is I can get it inside, and once you punish them then maybe you get some kick out. But it seems like they're settling. Dribble exchange, jumper, 25 feet jump. Not against this team. They are invigorated, Kentucky. And how about this? I didn't know I could write. Use the bigs, the duck-ins. I think that's what you've got to do. They did that a little bit earlier. And the other end is, if you don't have a fast break, just relax, get the ball side to side. You've got so many dynamite providers. Use them.
We talked about the importance of this game for both of these two teams. The young Kentucky Wildcats with their 5 freshman starters. And Louisville still kind of navigating their way through the aftermath of Rick Pitino's exit. A different feel to this game with Pitino's absence.
Mahmoud and Spalding in with the 2 fouls. He may be their best shooter. What do you think?
Quade Green certainly looked like it on that shot.
37% from 3.
It's a long 2, say the officials, for Green, the Philadelphia-born star.
That's that little circle play they run across the foul line and look for a lob.
Spalding had to deal with foul issues in the first half. That is smooth. Left-handed baby hook shot. A basket that the Cardinals needed badly.
Well, he can really jump out at you, Spalding.
Final non-conference game for Louisville. At the end of the day, having won 6 straight, but by far, clearly their biggest start to the season. And speaking of big, P.J. Washington.
What a real good adjustment. They went that matchup. A terrific dive. Washington at the 10.
Well, what a nice little game Washington's putting together. He's got 12 from John Calipari. Well, can this kid get going? Diallo, as I mentioned, just 1 of 7 shooting in the first half. Right back in low to Spalding.
They found a way. Use the bigs. Give him the touches. The quick timeout. Yeah, Diallo got hurt, I think. He's coming over the sideline.
Diallo kind of gingerly making his way to that Kentucky bench. I'll take a look at him here. And Gilgeous-Alexander checks in.
I just love the dive there, and that just opens it up beautifully. Nice looking pass, and of course the athleticism at the 10.
Diallo, the freshman of the week in the SEC the week before Christmas. Looks like they're looking at that left leg. We'll try to get an update as quickly as we can. Look at Kentucky's offense. 7 straight makes. Whatever they worked on at practice the last week, Billy was right. There's Green again.
He can fill it. No question about it.
Green has 11, and their lead has ballooned to 17 points. Precarious moment of the game for the Cardinals. It's V.J. King finding his spot and elevating.
They used the ball screen. They didn't handle it properly. Gave in. Nice open pull-up.
Decorated high school career in Fairfax, Virginia. McDonald's All-American was King. Actually started his high school career at St. Vincent St. Mary in Akron. LeBron James' alma mater. Green kind of contorting his body in midair.
Oh, that's a nice ISO, Chris John. Knows the NBA, of course, head coach with Jersey, in Philly with Larry Brown. A little ISO, little ball screen gets Green to that empty side where he can do some damage. He knew once he got up in the air, just get the contact.
3rd foul charge to Mahmoud. So here is Green. Arguably the country's best high school prospect in this year's recruiting class. 4-time state high school champion Newman-Goretti High in Philly. And, you hear, Billy, the comparisons to Tyler Eulis. Not sure that Green is the defender that Eulis was, but this kid is a floor general. He's a pass-first point guard, and he could suit this team very, very well as the season goes on.
He may be the best shooter, too. His stroke and his confidence and technique. These two guys together, you see Alexander in the background. Tough outs at the guard spots.
So Mahmoud picks up his third. He'll stay on the floor here. David Padgett not wanting to sit his center with him down so much. And El Diallo, meantime, continues to struggle.
Snyder's really been quiet, too, for him. Boy, you can't give him those looks. Now he's got to run the show now.
So here's Quentin Snyder, a young man born in Louisville. He knows this rivalry so well, embedded in his mind as a kid.
A little zone here. We get the kick. I got it.
And Billy with the hands. Coach, you still got it.
Not bad. That's about all I can do. That's the limit of my athleticism. How about this? Good form.
The reach.
Soft hands. Catch it with your eyes. And then jack it up.
Very impressive, Coach. Adele. And that is a travel. Boy, he just could not get going. 1 of 8 is Adele. He has just 4 points in 22 minutes.
It's not that they don't practice against size. A lot of teams say, well, we can't simulate him. But at Louisville, you got those big guys looming large. Kentucky, much better defensively.
Well, Louisville's win over Kentucky last year at Louisville. Adele had that huge game, tied a then career high with his 18 points, couple of big threes. And so this has been a far different story here. Gilgeous-Alexander right through the defense.
He can go left, great, quick timeout. They are, you catch teams on a day like today, Kentucky ready to go from the get-go. On the deck, low post, blocking shots as well.
Let's revisit our AT&T Fast Analysis.
And the speed and hustle, the ability to not only get the 50-50 balls, but to sprint out and convert. How about that? Outnumbered, outquicked. And this is really an exhibition of great talent playing at their optimum in Kentucky.
Bill, people who've never been to Lexington, you don't really understand the passion that this fan base has for this team. And you talk to people out and about town here, and they actually talked about this being a must-win game. And Calipari's got to get them to win. And it's unbelievable for a guy who's accomplished everything he has here. They've been on his back of late. They're trying to figure out if they can kind of flip the switch with this young team. And Spalding misfires underneath.
A nice shot down inside. Woe is me kind of a deal. They're ready to go. He's got his answer right here, John. The way they're playing. He's got a good play here.
Washington, the miscommunication with Green. Rare mistake that Kentucky has made on this terrific stretch that they've been on. Only their 6th turnover.
They keep going inside. I mean, got a good look for Spalding last trip. Snyder's really had his problems, not able to get the looks. Kept him out here. The zone prevents him. Nice double. Look at the numbers here.
Calipari may continue with that zone defense he had such an aversion for. Well, they make plays like that. What a save underneath.
That's what they want. Anything loose, they own.
This is Gilgeous-Alexander. Diallo still on the bench. And contact and a foul. As Kentucky continuing to get any shot that they want. Open floor, Green. And Knox, the terrific save to keep it alive. Well, it's certainly been a challenge for the Hall of Fame coach, John Calipari. The youngest team he is at here in Kentucky, the 5 freshmen. And they have kept him busy, haven't they?
Oh, my goodness. Well, when he turns, he's talking to great talent. Those guys turn, they're going, who should I put in? Who wants to go in? And this guy had a lot of guys that he wanted to put in, too. Joe B. Hall, an old friend of mine. We were in Ireland together in 1981. We lifted a few, you might say.
A couple of pints.
He loved his horses, and of course, following Adolph Rupp, not easy to do for anybody.
Unbelievable. Led them to the 1978 National Championship.
In St. Louis.
That's right. Still such a beloved member of this community in Lexington, Kentucky born.
Said he loves it because a lot of players live here, and he gets to see them all the time. So he's doing well, seems to be in great health. And he said this team, he was so disappointed in the UCLA game. He said, this is the way they're supposed to play. They play like this, they're going to have a fine year.
Pretty sure they still pick up a few checks for Joe and some of the haunts here around town.
I would say. I don't think he's reaching too much. Nice pull-up, boy. That's nice to see. Compliments the deep and drive of Alexander.
11 points for the freshman out of Ontario. Another kid out of that Toronto, Ontario area that has become a hotbed for basketball talent the last couple of years. This is Snyder. Snyder, Mahmoud, and Adele. None of them, Bill, have been able to get going.
Really struggling. Boy, you don't step out. Nice little kick out by Alexander. Nice pass.
Here's Adele underneath. Little bounce to get himself going. Only the 6th point for Dang Adele in this game, the junior.
Man, just keep playing if you're Louisville. Stick your nose in there, compete, do something like this. Nice recovery. They got a hold, I think, by Snyder at the end of it.
And that will be his first. Well, Tuesday on CBS, celebrate 2018 with Michael Weatherly in the first new episode of the year. It's a can't-miss bowl Tuesday after NCIS, only CBS.
Hurry on the floor now, and stick it, drive it, and run the floor pretty good. Give Snyder, who's off his game today. This Kentucky team, they play like this, they'll get into a lot of people's heads.
Kentucky 32 wins last year, a team that went to the Elite Eight.
Nice fade here by Knox, sets up that jumper.
Bill, if they needed a game to jumpstart their season, this is certainly it till this point.
When you think of it, the rivalry which you addressed at the beginning and how meaningful that is, and then you add on the importance playing a team that's going to be in the tournament this year.
It's Ryan McMahon a little bit short. There's no second chance opportunities down the stretch here for the Cardinals.
Richards on the fourth. Once again, a good presence defensively. Really got this game going, I thought, in their favor.
Finish underneath. What? How good has Gilgeous-Alexander been today?
What every day. Take him in a minute. Feet used to the left.
Billy, just saw that graphic. We talked about how good Louisville has been defensively. Second most blocks per game in the country. Just 2 in this game. Just have not been themselves at either end of the floor. Long shot from Perry won't go. The freshman.
He got that look, he can make it. A nice ability to avoid the contact. Keep those eyes up, read it, and then just stretch over the defender. Just pretty. In the zone here. I guess his toes left the ground. Nice challenge by Knox. Yeah, you can play zone, but you got to work at it too. Good to see Diallo seems to be squeezing his hand as he goes by.
Diallo had to leave the game earlier with appeared to be a little bit minor injury to his right leg. So now back on the floor with Kentucky comfortably in front by 21 points. Wildcats at 9-2. Their only 2 losses this season. Mid-November to Kansas and Chicago. And then the loss last week in New Orleans to UCLA.
Nice play here. The last time he faded. This time Knox curls. Pretty.
First bucket for Knox. The freshman stud as they extend their lead.
Well, they want blood, this crowd.
No let up in this rivalry. That's Williams from deep.
A nice job getting available beyond the three-point line. And just a pretty little play they ran twice. This time, instead of fading, the little curl by Knox, and then obviously the pass that complements it. Look at this, just pretty. If you really switch it, the little lob can prevail.
First three-point bucket for the Cardinals since the early stages of the game. Just how good this Kentucky defense has been inside and out. Gabriel in the corner.
Yeah, that would have been a perfect trap if the man a little smaller.
Here's Diallo. Now to Gabriel.
They're running that little flex screen again.
Shot clock down to 5. Gilgeous-Alexander between two. Richards. And he'll shoot free throws.
I don't know who they want to give it to. McMahon got a piece of him. A lot of guys did.
Looks like it'll be against Malik Williams. That'll be his third personal. Well, this is a good teaching moment. Of course, David Padgett, the 32-year-old first-year head coach, whirlwind. Of course, was not named until just 2 days before practice began in September. Certainly walked in here knowing the challenge that was before his team, and that's exactly how this has played out so far.
And he thought his guys, a couple of guys have played here, 3 of them at least. Just a different Kentucky team than he probably looked on tape the other day. Just like the way he handles himself. A very impressive young guy.
3-year starter as a player at Louisville after transferring from Kansas.
What did he say? He wanted Kansas or Carolina, right? Was that the two that he ended up? Come to Louisville for 3 years, and they said even as a player he was a grown-up.
Trent Johnson seated right next to him to try to help him navigate this season. Johnson, of course, all that head coaching experience. Actually recruited Padgett for a bit, as Billy mentioned earlier. There's Gabriel, a little pump fake, and then Perry is whistled for the foul. All Kentucky on CBS. CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Chick-fil-A, start game day strong with the new Hash Brown Scramble Bowl. And by Capital One Venture Card, what's in your wallet? 23,000 plus with this hallowed ground of college basketball, Rupp Arena. Gilgeous-Alexander, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been one of the stars for Louisville. In the meantime, Diallo and the Cardinals struggling till this point, but look at what they've done in the half. Can't expect them to be more efficient than that.
This team is really playing the top of their game. You know, Seth was talking about before the game, they are aggressive getting to the free throw line. 22 attempts, and that's a monster. But their aggressiveness has been at the rim, rebounding, loose balls.
Green gets it back from Gabriel. There's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the shot clock at 6. This kid's certainly not playing like a freshman in this game. Reaching foul. And that'll be 1-1 as Kentucky now in the bonus.
Curry, I guess, if I'm not mistaken.
That's his third and the team's second.
Number 3 on Perry.
John Robick, Tony Barbee in the background there. Has been around John for a lifetime. There's Tony played from at UMass. Kenny Payne there, and Louisville player for Denny Crum. Some Kentucky ties there.
Well, they went out and signed the #1 recruiting class in the country to try to turn the page from last season's team that won 32 games, went to the Elite 8. Within a couple of points, that heartbreaking loss that would have catapulted them to the Final Four.
Richards, I think, gave a little bit of a shove. Well, he's a big, broad-shouldered guy.
That's the first foul against Kentucky since halftime. Incredible. As Richards will sit, and Sasha Kalia-Jones back in. Well, I don't think anyone expected this.
No, I didn't. I thought we were going to have a very competitive game, as we did early. Misuse, that's not Louisville. Just let it go.
Easy deuce for Gilgeous-Alexander, and he's got 17 points.
But they can play a lot of different ways, particularly with 2 point guards. Nice pass. Nice steal. Bad pass out.
Perry is back. And Gilgeous-Alexander just keeps coming.
He's blossoming in front of our eyes. And this one, a little pilfer. I like when a guy just lets him go. You want to see it. But how about this? Euro from Canada. No less.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the young freshman out of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Back-to-back buckets. He doesn't start for John Calipari, but he certainly has played like one. And he is putting together the best game of his burgeoning collegiate career.
He's got such great speed. He can jump passing lanes. Well, that was so advertised. It was an easy one for him at the other end.
He has scored their last 7 points as Kentucky's lead now is 29.
And they got the 3-guard look going with Diallo on the floor as well. He's a multi-positional guy. Nice pass. And a grab.
McMahon on the setup for Spalding as they play that little 2-man game.
And Jones got caught. Guys get out of stances. That's what causes them problems. Particularly big guys.
Checking in for Kentucky is
Third personal on Kalia Jones as Green is replaced here by Kevin Knox. Gilgeous-Alexander, by the way, with that last bucket, now a new season high. His previous was 15. Look at Spalding underneath. Gabriel sends it back. Oh, my goodness.
Gabriel is comfortable in heaven or in the sky.
And it's Knox, and that'll be a traveling violation. Paget, meanwhile, is pleading for a goaltend on that Gabriel block.
I don't blame him, but this is just an amazing look.
He's got a pretty good argument from that vantage point.
Yeah, exactly. It was almost in his fingertips when he got it.
There's not much trajectory on that shot. And so the call stands. Here's Snyder. Certainly not the game that he had against Kentucky last year. Little floater. More contact against the Wildcats. Knox just has not been able to avoid the wrath of the officials.
Yeah, exactly. Nickel dimers on him. But Snyder has been corralled beautifully by the Kentucky defense. They just made it difficult, even if he gets in the lane. Wall up a little, take away his vision.
I talked to a couple of the Louisville people at halftime, and they're all stunned, Bill, with how this game has went. They came in here so confident, 6 straight wins. Their only losses at Purdue and against Seton Hall, who, of course, is very good. So they just have not looked like themselves.
Those games that they little giveaway here, where they are just attacking any pressure, decimating with passes and position, but not able to finish games that they lost. That's what they felt they weren't doing well. And this is a much better team, and we've seen this happen on the road. It's just something, it's a difficult situation to explain to people when your team is as good as Louisville is and comes into a foreign environment.
Well, Tuesday on CBS, the NCIS team goes undercover in the explosive winter premiere Tuesday at 8/7 Central, only CBS. This was only a 14-point Kentucky lead at halftime. Okay, it has ballooned to 30 on 11-1 Wildcats run.
And this will be relentless, too. They are not going to back off. Not only plays 8, generally speaking.
This is VJ King as we are past the midway point of the second half. Snyder.
See there again. He didn't get an easy look. Got where he wanted, and that's what's been tough for them.
That was Spalding able to kind of flail his arms and tap it in. There's still a long way to go for the Cardinals. Gabriel from deep.
That's his shot. That's his shot. Good job getting back. And nobody, if this doesn't go in, they do make it.
Play, my goodness, King airborne. How did he get that to drop off glass?
And nobody there to help if he missed that shot. But at this point, why not? How about this? The distance, you can spread people. Gabriel, terrific looking stroke. Made a few against UCLA as well. They are relentless, and John is too, and cajoling.
Final non-conference game for both of these two teams. Louisville will open ACC play on January the 2nd.
Oh, he had him.
Against Pitt. Diallo. Boy, challenging Mahmoud. Washington, no. Gabriel turned back by Mahmoud.
Well, they are not backing off, are they? Relentless.
Kentucky doing some work on the offensive glass. Gilgeous-Alexander
with a little dexterity behind the back. This is a show right now. And as a young coach, which I was at one time, there's not much you can do. It is frustrating. You just got to keep your poise, support your players. You know they're better than they perform. But this kid has just turned the lights on. They want it all here, don't they?
They smell blood in the water early in the second half, and these fans want more.
And John's word was desperation, if I'm not mistaken.
Snyder on a three. But David Padgett in our conversation with him talked about the animus. Every time you walk into this building with the Louisville uniform on, John Calipari, of course, Rick Pitino had to deal with it for so many years. As Padgett getting his first taste as a coach today, and right now his troops down 30. Anas Mahmoud, meantime, has bowed out.
He will be, when he leaves the building, expressionless, though. No gestures. This is tough. When you're this good, and you know you came out here all prepared, did everything, paid attention, and you're steamrolled, basically, with a team. It's when you play somebody, too. This is a bounce-back game. UCLA took care of business, and Kentucky was somewhat frustrated, agitated.
Kentucky with one more game before the new year. It'll be on Sunday here against Georgia as they begin league play. In the SEC, what a fun season it'll be in that conference.
And they got some tough games coming up here. Not going to be easy. Georgia next at LSU. Tennessee, Texas A&M has had a great year. Tennessee, Rick Barnes played great against Carolina. You like this guy, don't you? His ability to use his footwork, his size, his strength, his speed. He's having a ball a little behind the back. Marcus Haynes personified.
Game summary, 7:46 mark of the second half. It has been all Kentucky. They've done it inside, they've done it outside. The transition game has been humming as Louisville taking it on the chin. And John Calipari lamenting the lack of hustle entering this game. Boy, they have flipped the script.
All week long, that was the demand, the dictate. And boy, did they come out revved up, ready to go, performed at a high level, challenging shots, anything loose. They've got more than one white shirt going after again those runouts because of it. The ability to finish plays.
John Calipari, the 58-year-old Pittsburgh native, suburbs just outside Pittsburgh. First ballot Hall of Famer back in 2015. Third highest active winning percentage among college coaches. Only Mark Few and Roy Williams having fun. That is Adele going high off blast. Just not enough from Adele today. 8 points. And it's now just 2 of 9 shooting.
I didn't know where you were going when you said third highest. I thought maybe you were talking about some other things.
Well, he's definitely at the top of that list. When we talk financials, Gabriel's pass is poked away in the corner.
Not a good pass there.
B.J. King.
Just keep playing. This is not about today right now for Louisville. This is about playing for your teammates, your university, and the rest of the year as they get the up and down.
Turnover as they give it back. Just their 9th. There's Padgett. 3 appearances in this rivalry as a player. Actually won his only game with Louisville against Kentucky here at Rupp. Talked about how exhilarating an experience that was for him.
The big thing for him now is how do you deal with this in the locker room, on the bus, and the next practice? I mean, that's where, you know, nice pass again.
That'll be a goaltend against Gabriel.
And he stopped going inside, and it's hurt them. But that's the key too, as you learn. You know, you don't want to lose your players. You want them to key on how poorly they perform and what we can do better and move on. And he's one of those kids that think he'll handle it.
Third youngest head coach in all of Division I. Wasn't named the interim until September the 29th.
And by the way, it's not the same way as you lose games that you handle it. Pretty.
Ball knocked around, and that's Washington.
Well, they just have stopped guarding. The psyche has been intruded upon.
28-point game. It's Jordan Wara, freshman out of Buffalo. And then King is there to clean it up.
Well, keep playing.
I'm not sure Calipari is going to be able to keep Gilgeous-Alexander as a reserve player for much longer. The kid keeps this up.
He's one of those kids where he's 27 minutes a game. He actually gets more than Green at 23.
There's Green at the top of the circle.
Look at his footwork.
I mentioned Padgett as a player.
How about this? Going back in time. And some pretty good players there. Williams, NBA action. And how about the big fella? Other than his knees, he would have been playing a lot longer in the NBA, or in the NBA, I should say.
That was actually Louisville's last win here at Rupp, January of 2008. Here's Adele. That's a long two. And then underneath, last touch by the Cardinals. It was funny. Padgett says half the time he goes out in Louisville, people still confuse him for Scott Padgett.
And how about he say the one there was a fan said, I'm the best Louisville fan there is, Scott.
Kentucky, meantime, continues to pour it on. It's Knox. And a chance at a three-point play.
But I mean, a little extension of the arm. But undeterred, though. You can just see nobody really stepping up. Carte blanche entree.
Scott Padgett, a former, of course, Kentucky player. Now the head basketball coach at Samford.
A lot of zone this half. Control, penetration. Pretty good job there, though, to counter it.
Well, missed by King, who's been very good in the second half, despite the fact that Louisville has taken one on the chin.
It's a little rub set underneath. Pin downs. He's just got a lot of life in his body, doesn't he?
A lot of bounce. On the wing, Diallo. Got it!
This is one you got to remember if you're a Louisville player for next year.
Well, Kentucky wanted revenge. Lost at Louisville last year is Snyder. Beautiful up and under move.
They needed more of that loose ball that he got. They didn't get the majority of them. That's what's cost him dearly.
Foul charge to Kevin Knox, and he is fouled out. Frustrating day for the freshman, who actually entered the day as their leading scorer. 8 points.
He's a big timer, though. Not his best, but a lot of talent in that body.
Kentucky winning a major recruiting battle for his services. Duke in North Carolina, also Florida State that was in the mix.
You might say to a lot of people, knocking at his door. Huh?
Very nice build.
Nice extra. Look at this. Nobody at home.
Kalea Jones.
This is not the breakdown you're accustomed to.
Kentucky, by the way, has hit the 80-point plateau for the first time in this series in 18 games. There's King a little bit too much with the three, and Diallo clears.
I like their three-guard look, don't you?
Bill Oldham looks have been good today.
Yeah, whatever they put in there works.
And you have to think this is the coming out party that John Calipari was looking for. Who knows if he'll spur them on the rest of the year. But
today you get a glimpse of just what the potential is for this Kentucky team. It's scary.
I think that's what frustrated him. He knew they were better than they were playing. Nice lead pass.
But Diallo took a little bit of a clip from the back.
Lost his balance, too.
Second time that's happened for him in this game.
He wanted to bring the house down, too. Now he gives the foul. He hurt his leg a little bit. So we didn't have to worry about hurting ourselves on dunks, but he does. How about this? They've been just at ease at the tin with this. Send it in.
As Daniel readies himself at the free throw line. 86-55. It has been a one-sided affair. If you've just joined us, all Kentucky, 14-point halftime lead. And they just blew the doors off the Cardinals in the second half.
Yeah, there's that little dunk. You mentioned we had one earlier where just that little shove, little touch, throws them off. They go down a little gimpy.
Second time that Diallo has kind of limped off the floor during the break.
So this is one of those scores when you look at the well, I look at the paper, you look at the computer, and you say that can't be, right?
First time Kentucky has hit the 80-point mark against Louisville in a long time. 18 meetings, as we mentioned earlier. As Spalding sends that shot into the second row.
He treated that like it was a Spalding high bouncer. Keep ready to play. Justice there. Got to be a happy staff. Takes the pressure off. There's Kenny Payne.
Certainly part of Kentucky signing the top recruiting class in the country. And though they certainly played like today, as these freshmen starting to spread their wings.
When don't they sign the best?
Gilgeous-Alexander, no. And it's tipped up and in by Washington. They always seem to be up there in the top three, don't they? Year in and year out. Certainly Calipari's calling card here at Kentucky. McMahon, the sophomore, now to Adele. That's a three.
This hurts. If you're a player, this hurts. That little push off by Green. Again, that's his third charge he's picked up.
That's right.
He may have a little theatrics there.
The sophomore is so crafty. It will earn him a trip to the free throw line. Quade Green whistled for his third. Bill, you, of course, were a first-year head coach. As John Calipari's son, Brad, will check in for the first time today. Nice chance for...
he can shoot it.
Yes,
I mean, he can really shoot it. Watching practice yesterday, player controller saying, and I asked John Lewis, I said, well, you like that? He said, no, I was a point guard. I ran, got the ball to the right spots. He said, I couldn't shoot like him. So you need guys in the second group that can push these guys and get after you a little bit. You got to guard them out there when they play them.
Speaking of Calipari, this is what the schedule looks like for them. One more game before the new year rings in on Sunday night. They'll take on Georgia as they begin their SEC schedule. And you're right, a couple of tough games to get their conference play schedule started.
Yeah, Maton on Georgia is really a talented player. I mentioned Tennessee having a great run against Carolina. This league has improved. And of course, we all know about the ACC. They got a ton of aspirants for the championship.
Sasha Kalia-Jones done for the day as Chris Richards checks back in.
There's some pieces here. David's going to have a chance to get them back on campus, get them organized, get ready for this season. I think there's this, if I'm not mistaken, that they have coming up.
It'll be their first league game in the ACC.
They never controlled the game. Sorry, Spiro. Defensively, they didn't make it a mystery for Kentucky with their switching D. And
it's Washington turned aside. Thomas was there with a good defensive play. Well, you worry about the psyche of the team. And you were a first-year head coach at one point.
I lost my team in October.
We'll find out just what Padgett is as a head coach in terms of how this team reacts to this.
I think they'll be fine, though. I really do. After spending some time with him, didn't really know him or said hello when he was the assistant. I just like his style.
But this day all about John Calipari's Wildcats. Here's son Brad. Fans imploring him to shoot. Gilgeous-Alexander will oblige and is a little bit short.
McMahon's not going to let him get a deuce on him.
Under a minute to play in this second half. McMahon calling for it. That's a three from McMahon. Offensive rebound, Williams.
Oops.
Over the head of Thomas.
Does that speak of the evening or afternoon?
Certainly does. As the frustration nearly over for the Cardinals. This is the schedule that they have in front of them, as they will begin ACC play at home against Pitt. And that game against Florida State looming large.
Yeah, that tells a story, too, that expression. Nothing worse than getting your backside handed to you. You're not playing well, and staff has to get together, get themselves up, and then get the rest up.
Johnny David and Dylan Pulliam have checked into the game as Calipari empties his bench. Here's Brad Calipari. Find the spot. Selfish to Richards. Hard finish. And certainly one of the more lopsided games that we've seen in this rivalry of late. It'll be the third biggest win for Kentucky all time against Louisville as they win it by 29 points. Your final, Kentucky 90, Louisville 61. Coming up, NC State, Arizona State in the Hyundai Sun Bowl. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports. We'll send you to El Paso.